Hi everyone. Are we audible? Let me check. Uh, Could we are audible, right? Great. Let us start with today's 21 days of code. Today we were supposed to do strings, right? So strings. And people had asked us to do three questions, which were justify text, zigzag string, and one more. Which was that? Valid IP addresses, correct? So today we will be solving these three questions: justify text, zigzag string, and valid IP addresses. These questions seem to be like string parsing only, okay, not related to string algorithms, but cool. So these questions normally, as far as my experience has been, that they tend to have a lot of edge cases. So normally it becomes difficult to get them correct in the very first attempt. But let us see. Okay, so we start with the first question: justify text. So we are given an array of words and a length L. Format the text such that each line has exactly L characters and is fully justified. Okay, now it covers the complete width. You should pack your words in a greedy approach, that is, pack as many words as you can in each line. So whatever comes in that line, you just put there. Pad extra spaces when necessary so that each line has exactly L characters. Okay, extra spaces between words should be distributed as evenly as possible. Okay, so basically the difference between the spaces between words should be minimized. If the number of spaces on a line do not divide evenly between words, the empty slots on the left will be assigned more spaces than the slots on the right. Okay. So if each space between any two pair of words is not equal for a line, the words on the left will have more space between them rather than those on the right. Okay. For the last line of text, it should be left justified and no extra spaces inserted between the words. Okay, and we should return a list of strings where each string represents a single line. So for example, here each line should be of width 16, that is there should be 16 characters in each line, 16 non-space characters, or sorry, 16 total characters. So if we see that this is 4 plus, okay, one space should be minimum there between each words. So 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8. And if this would have come, this would have got out of this line. So we can just put this is and an in this. Okay, so suppose the line width should be 16 and the size of these three words combined is 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8. So there should be 8 spaces, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 4 and 4. Okay, so as there are 8 spaces, so and there are 2 blocks of spaces, so each block has 4 spaces. Cool. And the last what we say last line should be left oriented. Okay. So what we get from, I mean, like what I get a basic understanding in these kind of questions where you have to do more of what we say, uh, it's more of like development rather than an algorithmic approach. So we should first iterate over the array and try to find which all words can go in the current line. So suppose initially the current line is 0. So, and the size can be maximum 16. So we start going from here, this 4 characters, then there should be a space, which is 5 characters, plus 2, 7, then a space, 8, plus 2, 10. But if this word would have been included, then it would have gone out of 16. So only these 3 words can be put. Okay. But how they can be put, we are not concerned about it as of now. So let us first try to create a logic where we understand that, okay, what are the words that are put in the current line. Okay. Okay. And then I will have a different function that uses those words and basically prettifies them. I mean, like then they should be center aligned more or less. Okay, so Let me first store the size of the array. Okay, so I would need to know that what is the current length of words that has been included, so as to decide if the next word can be included or not. Okay, so int current length, initially it is 0, and I will also need to know that what is the starting point of the current window that I'm considering. So initially start is equal to 0. Okay, then I iterate over those words. How will I decide if a particular word cannot be included? Okay. Okay, so if there are three words, then minimum two spaces should be there, right? So I can say that if current length plus current length is, let us say, storing the lengths of each of the words. So suppose when this is the array that I'm considering, the value of current length should be 4 plus 2, 6 plus 2, 8. So, and then number of spaces will be number of words minus 1. So I minus start plus 1 is the number of words. I minus start plus 1 is the number of words, and the spaces will be number of words minus 1. Hmm. Plus plus the length of the current word, ai dot size. If it is greater than current length, that means this word cannot go in the current line. Okay, so then I will have to prettify the line. I will write the code of this later. Okay, else I will say current length plus equals to ai dot size. Okay, so if I know this thing, then I will do prettify here. But okay, then whenever we run such kind of loop where we do the real operation inside the loop, so then there is always a case that you have missed the very last window, the window that is at the end. So I can just do prettify the remaining array here, the remaining suffix of array here. Okay, and my answer should be a vector of string. So vector of string answer, and I will return the answer here. Makes sense. So now the only thing I think that is left is how to prettify. Okay, suppose I write the prettify function, which will obviously be given the words uh, and also the length per length of line length. Then I also need to know that what is the window for which I'm rectifying. So then I will need to know the start and end of it. Okay, so I know the words, and then I need to know. So here it is given that it is the last line, then it should be left justified. Otherwise, it should be central justified. But I can find that out from start and end only, right? Here I also missed one thing. My start should change to I, and yeah, current length should also change to 0. Makes sense. Okay. I think I can make decision based upon that. Okay, I also need to pass this answer variable so that I can modify it. So suppose I am also pass this answer variable. Right. Let me zoom it. Hmm. Okay, so I have been passed this. Then how will I justify it? First, okay. Hmm. Suppose I know how many words are there. N number of words will be equal to start n minus start plus 1. Okay. If number of words are this, Okay. I also need to pass the length of words so that I can know the number of spaces that should be there in that line. Length words. Okay, so int remaining spaces will be equal to line length minus length of words. Length words. Okay. Now I should distribute those spaces equally, right? If I should distribute those spaces equally, then what should be okay? How many spaces are there? Number of spaces will be equal to number of words minus one. Right. Okay. So there will be a space before every word other than the very first word of that line. Just let me take care of the edge case. Okay. If somehow end is greater, if start is greater than end, then it's return. That should not ever happen. Okay. Okay. So now then these are number of spaces, then int space each space length should be equal to remaining spaces by number of spaces. Remaining spaces by number of spaces. Okay. But if number of spaces are zero, that will happen if there is only one word, right? If there is only one word, actually I should do what? If number of words is equal to one, I have to avoid the division by zero error. If number of words equals to one, then the current line will be equal to only that current word, correct? Because that will be the last word. Yes. Current line is equal to words of start. It's only one word. And then I will push that into answer and then return. I can say answer dot pushback current line and I should be done. Hopefully. Okay, so I have taken care of the edge case. So now this won't be division by zero. That thing I'm 100% sure about. So now I also need to know if that line is the last line, right? Because for last line I have to do left justification. This last line I can say that it will be last line if end equals to words dot size minus one. Okay. If is last line, then I will do something else. But let us take care of if it is not the last line. Uh, okay, if it is not the last line, then I will start making the current line. String current line will be equal to for initially empty. Then for end I equals to start I less than equal to end plus plus I. Okay, so the current line should have the first word left justified, right? The first word should be absolutely left justified. So let me actually put the first word there. Current line plus equals to first word. So word start. Now before putting any word, I first put the spaces before it. Okay, so and then I will have to put from start plus one. For int j equals to 1, j less than equal to number of spaces plus plus j. Uh, I put a space here, empty string. Okay. Hmm. Let me actually also make the I just also reduce the number of spaces because I have created a space. Minus minus number of spaces. Okay. So now at least I have put j spaces, but it might happen that this is the first one, right? So then I mean, like, it might need more. I mean, like, more number of spaces than what comes on the right. So one more space will be needed. How will I know if one more space will be needed? Uh, int future spaces will be equal to how many future spaces will be there? They will be equal to the number of words that are left, right? Suppose uh, I am putting current word word 1. Suppose I'm currently putting this is word 2. Suppose I'm putting the word 2, then word 3 and word 4 are left. So the number of spaces will be the number of words that are left, and in future, yep, future spaces will be hmm, number of words that are left, which is equal to end minus I, right? Because suppose I is currently this, then end will be 0, 1, 2, 3 minus 1. Yes, end minus I, end minus I. Yes. So these many spaces are left. Okay. So if future spaces into number of spaces are not equal to what we say remaining spaces. So I think I should have minus minus remaining spaces, right? Sorry, future spaces into each space length is not equal to remaining spaces. It's not equal, then that means I will have to add an extra space here. So I will just do this thing. Okay, so I have done this thing. Then I will push the word. So current line plus equals to that particular word. Words I. This should work. So now my current line should be correct ideally. Yes, and it has told that I have to pad extra spaces. They won't be there even, right? They will be there in the last line, but not in any other line at least. Okay. Hmm. So this thing should be fine. And hmm, right. So this should be fine, and then I will do what? If I know this and I know this, then I just have to put that line in the answer. Answer dot pushback current line, right? Answer dot pushback current line. I think I will need to put this here. Right, at least this will work perfectly fine for the case of, this should work perfectly fine for the case of not the last line. But what if it is the last line? If it is the last line, then I only need to have left justified. That means no extra space. So then I just have to put those words, right? So then I will say string current line. It will be empty thing. And then I will say for end I equals to start. Then I will actually put first thing here because I don't need a space before the first one. So do word start and I equals to start plus 1, I less than equal to end plus I say current line plus equals to an extra space and then current line plus equals to word size, and I am done. Answer dot pushback current line. Answer dot pushback current line. This should work. Okay. Then I also have to pad those extra spaces by empty, so that each line should have exactly 7 characters. Okay, so let me actually have a function to pad. I will pad the string in place, string current line and line length. I will say file current line dot size is not equal to line length. Current line plus equals to an empty space. That should work. So then I will pad here current line, and then I will have the length, so line length, and the same thing I will have to do at two more places, which will be here. I think here only it will be needed, because the final line should ideally be padded by itself, right? Hmm. And then I have to call the function rectify a b start end. Phi, it has to be passed a b, start is start and end is I minus 1, right? Because current word can't come there. Then I will need answer and length of words. Answer I have to create, but length of words is current. Okay, answer I have also created, so this is answer. That is it, and then I have to prettify, call prettify here as well. Here start will still be start, end will be n minus 1, and answer and current length should be correct, right? Seems fine. My pad function is correct, while it is not equal to line length, it is just increasing the length by 1. If start is greater than end, I don't need to do anything there. This can happen when only, I think, A is empty, right? Words is empty. Can words be empty? I'm not able to scroll down here. Let us take a case. Then if words is empty, that means if A dot empty or A 0 dot size is equal to 0, right? That means there is an empty word. A 0 dot size equal to 0. That means I don't have to return anything. My answer is that's it. Yes. Yes, my answer is nothing. So return just answer. That's also. I don't think this case should be there. Hmm. I have distributed the spaces equally. Current line is an empty line, and current line plus equals to start. Then I think it should work. Let us test it. I might have some variable issues. Oh, it worked. Let's try to submit it. Hmm. So we are doing some error here. What must this code is not? My code is returning something weird. Why? Let's take this case only. What is happening? You just see this 25 function. If start is greater than end, I return. Okay, if number of words is equal to end minus start plus 1, right? Yes. If number of words is 1, then I just current line equals to word start, and then I pad the current line and push it to the answer, and I'm done. Which is also fine. Line length minus the number of spaces is equal to number of words minus 1, and then it is divided. His last line is also correct. Oh, why I have current line as this? Current line should be empty, right? Hmm. In fact, current line can be just word start. Then I can do for end I equals to start plus 1, I less singular current line plus space and all, right? So Then I just have to pad it and I'm done. This thing is also fine. Then I put a number of spaces and I reduce the remaining spaces. This is not remaining spaces, this is actually remaining spaces, yes. And future spaces will be n minus I. So if future spaces, number of spaces that are there into what we say uh, length of each space, they should be fine. Then I current line push and then answer out push by current line. Okay. Here answer this thing seems fine. If current length plus, here am I doing something wrong? Current length I'm setting to 0. Current length I'm increasing also. I minus start plus 1 is the window size, right? Okay. This is the window size. That is the number of words that are there. Minus 1 because I don't have to insert space for 1. Plus AI dot size. Yep, this also is fine. Greater than current length, then I just do that's not equal to I and current length equals to 0. I think this should be working fine. To see what the issue is. Interesting, yeah. What must be shall be and B is 12. A, B start and minus 1. Line length start is 0 and is n minus 1. Answer is this and length of words. Start should be fine. Then I'm changing the start to I whenever I'm prettifying it. So I am somehow prettifying it early, right? And in each line I'm prettifying it. Interesting. Why am I doing that? What plus must? What is happening here? So n is n size, current length is 0, start is 0, okay? If a dot empty or a0 dot size equals to 0, this won't come ever. For I equals, then I iterate over each of those words, then the current length should be what is the current length. When I will be 0, so this will be 0 minus 0 plus 1 minus 1, which is 0 plus 0. This is perfectly fine. It's greater than not current length, but it should be greater than it should be greater than B. Okay, so this is a very random error. I should have first run it on test. Or did I run it on submit? What must be shall be seems fine. Am I outputting something somewhere? No, I am not. This seems fine, and but the length of this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Why is B coming on this line? This should not. Let us see on the test cases. I think the test case is weak. Okay, but this is wrong. I am somehow printing what must twice. I equals to start plus 1. I'm only putting the word start here in the current line. Current line is word start, current line is empty, and current line here also I can make it word start only. Okay, start plus 1, I less equal to line, current line plus equals to this, and minus minus remaining spaces seems fine. This should not be an issue. I prettify it, then Let me see whenever this function is called. Let me try to debug what is happening. I can say cout start and end. Let's see what is happening here. So this is correct. What and must should be in the first line, and they are. Then 3 and 4 should be in the first line, and they are. But the next time the function should also be called with what we say only 5 and 5, right? Only 5 and 5, but that was never called. Hmm. My answer is a vector or string, and I am pushing this to answer I equals to 0, I less than n plus plus I. I'm not calling this prettify ever. Interesting. Prettify was okay, it was called 0, 1, 2, and 3 and 4. It was called perfectly fine. And B shall be must be in one line. B E space S H E L L space B. 2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 plus 5, 7 plus 3, 10 plus 2, 12. This should be perfectly fitting. So B shall be must be in one line. Okay, right? This should be, but why is it not? Anyone able to find that out? At must I get there and then I change this. I'm calling this perfectly fine. I'm calling it from 3 to 4, so that is not an issue. And I'm also changing my current length to 0. So this is also fine. Minus 1 and then I'm adding the line length, which is also fine. Hmm. What is this output even means? When I'm calling from 3 to 4, this should be the end line. Then I will say this is the words start, and my words will be this, and start will, okay, line length and then start, right? Oh, interesting. This should be words A, B, start, and minus 1 also. Hmm. A, B, start, and minus 1 answer and current line. That is fine. So this is also called perfectly fine. Like it should be called from here. Then this thing will go here. String current line is equal to words length because this is the last line, right? So then I will put everything from start to end here, and then I will put only one space between them, which is also fine. Then I will pad current line and this, and this should work. Let me try to see out what is that current line. If the function even came there or not. If it came, then I think it might be that this compiler is having some issues. Or should not. Current line is only shell B, so that is an issue. B is somehow going here, which it should not. So I am having some issues here. But this actually at least came here. So shell B is coming from the second line of output. First, what must came, and then what must be came. If it ever happened that I'm not changing my start? Mhm. So I'm only returning from two places, either from here or from here. And if I put here current line, what is that going to come out to be? And here this thing is coming out to be what? Hmm. So twice current line came out to be what must. So I'm not returning. Correct. So here I pushed out of answer, but I somehow didn't return. So in the case of 0 to 2, I actually made current line what must, and then I made line current line what must be. This should not happen. If it is last line, then I pushed back to answer, and I put current line, let me say it is 1, and then this is current line 2. What is happening here today? This somehow came into this twice. Interesting. It came here twice somehow. Oh, okay, got it. This should be here. I should put it out of the for loop, and then it should work fine, right? I had this thing inside the for loop. And then I have only what must be and then only shall be. It is also technically though wrong, but it is correct. 4 plus 5 plus 4, 9 plus 10 plus 11, 12. So what must be will come here, and then shall be will come here. This is perfectly fine. So now we got this. Told it was a very bad error. Yes, I think let us just test with custom input, and now we should be fine. Yep, seems fine. So what I did was I put this thing inside the for loop. Amazing. Okay, let us see if it works. This is working, but what is happening now? It is putting more than one space here. No, no. Point J equals to 1. Before each word, I put a space, and I'm putting only one space, right? Yes, I'm putting only one space. If future spaces into each space length is not equal to remaining spaces, then I push another space here, and then I reduce this line. Okay, what is remaining spaces? Remaining spaces is the number of spaces that are there in this word, and this will be number of spaces into each space length. If future spaces will be n minus I, so all those words between current words. Yes. So if I is this and end is this, so 0, 1, 2, 3. So 3 minus 1, which will be 2, and 2 empty spaces will be there. And so it should not actually put this thing here. Here we are putting 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and then here we are putting 2, 3 spaces somehow. Okay, so the line length is 4 plus 4, 8 plus 2, 10, and the number of spaces should be 1. So each should be 1, right? So here current length will be 0, and number of spaces will come out to be, in this case, number of words minus 1, which will be 3, which will be 2. So number of spaces will be 2, and this will be 2. So this should be 2, this should be 2. Each space length should be 1. I think we are fine, and this will never happen, but it is happening. Somehow my each space length is coming out to be 3. It's coming out to be each space length. Let us see why is this happening. I should use shorter variable names next time. Each space length is 1, but I'm still somehow putting more than one spaces there. For j equals to 1, j less than equal to number of spaces, which is 1 plus j. I reduce the remaining spaces to 1, and then this is fine. The future spaces will come out to be, future words will come out to be 1. Then I would not ever execute this. Why is this even happening? Each space length is coming out to be more than this, right? In the word what must be, where each space length is 1. So between each word, I will put a space of number of spaces, right? Each space length. I should use better variable names the next time, and then this is fine. Interesting, got it. How many points will we still get from this? We're getting one exam, which is fine. Hopefully we get it. Cool, we got it. All the variable names issues. So let us do the next question that was for the day. That was zigzag string, right? Interesting. So we're given a string, PayPal is hiring. It is written in a zigzag pattern that P, then A, then Y, then P, then A, then L, I, S, H. Okay, so it's written like this. And then we are reading each row line by line. Okay, write the code that will take a string and make this conversion. Okay. Okay, so for A, B, C, D, if there are two rows, then first A will come in the first row, then B will come in the second row, then C will go above one. Okay. Okay. So whatever, whenever it happens that whenever a question comes that okay, your direction is changing. So what I normally do is I create a pointer. Okay, when is the direction changing? The direction will ever change only if the current row is 0 or if current row is n. Okay, if the current row is 0, the next row is always going to be +1. So the next direction increment will be +1. If the current row is n minus 1, then the direction pointer will be -1, so that the next row is reduced. Okay, so let me just say that, so what is the base case here? If A is empty, then I can just say that if A is empty, my answer will be nothing. I just have to return a string, so return an empty string. Then how many rows are there? The number of rows are equal to B, right? Okay, so let me actually create a vector, create a string vector where each row will be storing what is the string there, other than zeros. I mean, like it will only store the characters. So the 0th index will store P, A, H, N. The first index will store A, P, L, S, I, I, G, and so on. So the vector length should be of vector of string, and it should have a length of, which is answer, and it should have a length of P. Then I will have to iterate over this string. Then I will say for I equals to 0, I less than n plus I. Now I have to find that what is the current row in which that particular character should go. Initially, current row will be 0, right? And then as I told that, okay, I will maintain a direction that, hey, I mean, like if I come at 0, now I have to go down. So the next row will be +1 as it will be -1. So I will say current direction. Initially, I can make it 1. Okay, so if I know the current row and I know the current direction, okay, so first of all, I have to put the current word in the yes, right? So first I will say that answer current row plus equals to AI. Then I will say if current row equals to 0, then current direction will be equal to +1. Else if current row equals to n minus 1. So then I have to go reverse. So my current direction will change to minus 1. Okay. Then I will change my current row for the next iteration to plus equals to basically current direction. But what happens if 0 is equal to n minus 1? If there is only, I mean, if value of b is 1, that will happen in only that case, right? If value of b is 1, I mean, like, then there is only one row, then there is no sense of zigzag, so I can just return a, right? Now this condition won't ever happen, that current row is also 0 as well as it is n minus 1. Yes, correct. So now I will have to create my string final answer. Then for each row in what we say answer, final answer plus equals to row, and I should return final answer because I have to return string. This should be fine, right? If A is empty, then I'm putting that. I'm using extra space to store what will go in that particular row. So let me test it. No, I have a runtime error. If A is empty, I return empty thing, so I don't return anything. If B is equal to 1, then also I'm fine. If B is equal to 1, then I'm fine. Will it happen that B is 0? No, it won't happen. If current row is equal to n minus 1, current row is equal to B minus 1. Because B is the, what we say, changing. Today I'm doing very bad with variable names. Cool, this seems fine. Then let us submit it. Cool, we got 298. So we did this much better, but still failed with variable names a bit. Let us actually move to the last question for the day, which is the valid IP addresses, right? So we are told that we are given a string containing only digits, okay? Restore it by returning all possible valid IP addresses. That is combination, okay? A valid IP address must be in the form of a dot b. So as we know that all IP addresses can be from points 0.0.0.0 to 255.255.255.255. So yep, the number cannot be zero prefix unless, okay. So I mean, like, we are not allowed to have 011 dot something. Okay. And we also have to make sure that the returned strings are sorted in order. Okay. Sure. Okay. I mean, like, even if the current number is smaller, I think it should be able to make it. Okay, so one thing is clear that, okay, each of those, I mean, like, the partition that comes before each dot can be of maximum 3 length, right? Before each full stop, the partition is of maximum 3 length. So I can, and suppose for a string like this, for each string, so as to say, for each string, I will have 3 partitions, right? First partition of the very first dot, the second of second, and the third of third. So I can say for int I equals to 0, I mean, like, after which index. Okay, so I can also actually change it like what should be the length of the first part of this. So it can be 1, 2, 3. Okay, so for int, the first length can be uh, first length equals to 1, and it can be maximum 3, right? Okay. Similarly, the second length can also be this equals to 1 and less than equal to 3 plus plus second length. Similarly for the third length. to 3 plus plus third length. Okay. Fourth length is basically the whole remaining part of the array. Okay, so I mean like the total size of this string can be worst case 12 because 3 into 4 is 12 and at minimum it should be 4. So I can say one more thing as well, that n equals to a dot size. If n is less than 4 or n is greater than 12, that means I can't return anything. I just return empty answer. Suppose this is the answer, then in that case it's nothing is possible, so I can just return this answer. And okay, so now I know what each of these strings are. Okay, I also will need to see if the current string is valid. I mean, right, because there is a case at first it should be 0 to 255, then the second case says it should be, I mean, like if the first digit is 0, then it should only be 0, nothing else, unless they are 0, right? So let me actually make a bool is valid number, is valid part. It will be given a string which is the part, and I will say, so when is this valid? First, if part 0 is equal to 0, if part 0 is equal to 0 and part dot size is greater than 1, that means it's something 0 plus something, so that means it's definitely not valid. Else, it will be valid only if string to integer of part is less than equal to 255, right? Yes. It is valid part if string to integer part will be equal to 255. I don't think I have to do greater than 0 because all are digits. Yes, so I think this will be valid in this case. If it is 0, then it works. If it is other things, then it will also work. And in S2I by default base is 10, so we are fine. And so then I will say, okay, 3 and the first partition should also be less than n, right? And first length should be less than or equal to n, because obviously if the length is greater than n, that then it won't work. Then string first part will be equal to a dot substring from 0 of length first length. Okay, if is valid part first part, then only I will go further here. Correct? Yeah. Okay, then similarly I will have to do this thing, and first length plus second length should be less than or equal to n. Yes. Then second part will be equal to a dot substring from the index first length of size second length. Then I will have same thing if is valid part if is valid part second part, then only I will go here. Okay, interesting. Then similarly I will have to do here, and first length plus second length plus third length will actually be less than n. Why? Because there is something that also has to come after this, because a fourth part should also come, so I can actually have less than n as well. Will improve the worst case only. Plus plus length, and I will say string third part is equal to a dot substring first length plus second length, and it should be of size third length. Then I will have fourth. Let us actually put the fourth part as well. The fourth part will be equal to a dot substring from first length plus second length plus third length, and of size n minus whatever has happened. I think this will also work. This is the same thing. If we don't put anything here, this is going to be till n. Then I will say if is valid part third part and is valid part fourth part, then I have something as my answer. Then I can say answer dot pushback first part plus second part plus third part, and I can say fourth part. Okay, and that's it, and I can finally return my answer. Am I returning it? Yes. I hope this time my variable names are good. Part is here, part dot size is greater than 1. This is fine. S2I part should be less than equal to 255. That should also be fine. This should work. N is equal to a dot size. I'm never assessing anything outside the array, so this should be fine. Wait, right? Yes. Let's just test it. I hope I don't have any system. Return false. That's it. If part is and part is size, and then uh, I can return list. In this case, what I have done is that my answer is correct. 0.10 point. Here, my string is starting from 0.10.0.100. Why is this not the answer? Okay, my string is returning 0.100.10.0, which is fine. So this is returning. Then my string is returning 100.100 point. This should not be returned. 100.10.0.100. Yes, it should not happen. So one thing is coming correct, but one thing is not coming correct. Why is it not coming correct? It is not coming correct because my third part is 0, so this is this. But somehow my first part is still 100, right? 100.10.0. My God. My first length is 1, first length less than equal to 3, and first length should also be less than n. First length. I get the first part, which is fine. But somehow, when the length of the first part is 3, then I'm returning 100. It should not be happening, or it can happen. It should not happen. If part 0 equals to 0 and part dot size is greater than 1, because part 0 will be equal to 0 and part dot size will be greater than 1, so this thing will actually return false, so 0 1 0 won't ever come, right? And listen, what am I doing today? And first part will be for this, then is valid part first part. It will say the first part is coming out to be in this case it is coming out to be 100. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. This can't even happen. How is it even happening? 100.0.10. Somehow it is having 10 already with it. How? If n is less than 4 and n is greater than 12, I can just return empty. The first part is a dot substring of 0 from this thing, right? Yes. Then I'm always returning first part plus second part. Okay, so the issue is my first part is equal to the fourth part, so this should be FO part. So today I messed up with variable names badly. This is fourth part and this should be fourth part. Then I am correct. Right? Then I'm absolutely correct. Yes. Cool. And let's submit it. Cool. We got 241 points today and the streak is completed hopefully. Yep, we got 726 points today and 5-point streaks. Any questions, anyone? I have some moments we can answer those. Today, the only thing that I think that I messed up badly was variable names. Has been a long time since I practiced without code editor. So someone has asked, what is the time complexity of your code? Which code are you talking about? Let me just see. So the question that I had on what we say justified text, the time complexity will be something about I am processing each word once and I'm not processing each word more than once. So the time complexity should come out to be order of n only. N is where n will be equal to the number to the total size of all the words combined plus number of spaces. So that will be the time complexity, right? Because if I have processed anything, I'm not processing that particular part of the array A again. So I'm only processing a particular part of array A again, and to process that part, I need order of n. So I think I know why people are asking this question. This question might be asked because of this plus equals to thing. In C++, this is not going to make it order of n square, as far as I know. Okay, so you are asking the complexity of last question, valid IP address. Okay. This actually technically will be order of 1 only. Why? Because this is only going to a loop of size 3. So I'm processing all the strings of length 3. So it is 3 to the power 4 time complexity only. Order of 3 to the power 4. Yep. So your question was the last valid IP address, right? So here I'm processing this string, the very first 3 characters only once. But then, sorry, I actually can process this again. So this thing, let us say that is 3. It's order of 1 technically, but let us say that is 3 steps. Then this is also 3 steps. His valid part is also order of 3. So it's actually constant time, to be honest. This substring can, in worst case, this 3 can be n by 3. So let us say that each is n by 3. So then also this will be order of n and then order of n. This is technically constant. This is technically constant time only because I always know that yes, this is technically order of 1 only because I'm only processing strings of size 3, so I already know what the constants are. So yeah. Alok has asked, can you explain the zigzag algo once again? Sure. Zigzag string, right? Okay, so basically zigzag string question, in this question we had to actually know somehow that what are the characters that are going in a particular row. So what I basically did was I created a vector of strings of size at equal to number of rows. Okay, then I processed each character of this string from left to right, and then I try to find in which row should it go. How will I decide which row should it go? See, initially the first character that should go will be to the 0th index. Okay, now when we are at the 0th index, consider it in this way that okay, suppose you are going on a mountain, so you are going when you are at 0th index, so you are at the top of the mountain, the next thing should be plus 1 of what was previous. Okay, so current direction is storing what should be the increment of the next row from the previous row. Okay, so then from 0 it will become plus 1, then 2, then 3. Suppose there are only 3 rows. Okay, like in this case there are only 3 rows. So when the value of n will become 2, the next row should be 1 minus, I mean like the current row minus 1. So what I basically do is I change the current direction to minus 1. This trick is actually also usable in the matrix, what we say, in the matrix questions as well, where at the edge, you change the current direction to a direction that takes you down in the matrix. So this is the similar logic. Okay. Akshat has asked, when will you discuss the questions asked in the scalar entries test? We will discuss it tomorrow. Okay. The one that was asked in the test yesterday, right? So we will discuss that tomorrow. Okay. Cool. Any other doubts? Or can we end? Thanks. Cool, guys. Hope you finish your challenge as well, and then we will see you on day 6, right? Yep. So tomorrow we will be covering uh, bit manipulation. So make sure to ask your questions on YouTube comments or on LinkedIn, and we will cover that tomorrow. Okay. Bye bye. Good night. Adil, I have no idea when you will get the test results, but hopefully the team will get in touch with you. Okay. Bye bye. Good night.